Hey, today we are going to learn how to move an object so it goes, for example, up and down constantly or just rotate. So we are going to use a sin function of the math class. If you don't know what sin is, I will just show you that sin is a graph that goes from the positive value to the negative value, and it will help us so that whenever it changes this amplitude, it will go like, to the up position or down position. It will help us to move generally forth and back. So I'll just close it and create some empty object so we can use for this purpose. And I'll call it a dot. I'll add a sprite renderer to it and choose our knob. I will decrease it so it's better visible and maybe change color of it. Let's create some script. I'll call it .sin. I'll attach it to our game object and open the script. So we need to decide what values we want to go between. So let's go back to Unity and just go up. For example, we want to move our dot up and down like so. So if we go to the up position, this is about 4.5, and there will be 4.5 on the bottom one. So just put it as it is, and let's choose this position. So we will use a float variable to hold it, type float, and then maybe we will call it max move, and let's assign 4.5 value to it as we just saw it in the Unity. So now in our update method, let's just use transform position because we want to change its position. So transform position equals, we need to specify new vector 3, and inside we want to move this object on the y-axis. So let's leave x-axis as it is, and now we have to use our max move. So max move and multiply it by the Mathf Sin method. So just use Mathf and Sin. Now open the parentheses, and inside we have to specify some value. We're going to use a time, and we need to multiply it by some speed. So we are deciding how fast this dot should be going up and down. So we can just put a fixed number for now. Let's use like 1f maybe. And we need to specify the z value for the vector as well. Let's put it on the 0, just save it. And if we go back now, we don't need the start method, so get rid of it. Let's go back to Unity and let's start our program to see it's going up and down, which is really cool, isn't it? So now if we want to change the speed of it, so the dot is moving faster, we need to go back to the script and change this value. So maybe instead of putting a fixed number in here, let's create another variable. So let's put float and call it speed, and assign a value of 3 to it. So now replace the fixed value with our variable name, and this is working. Okay, so this is one of the options we might use. Of course, you can do the same with the horizontal axis, just changing the x values instead of y's. But now I want to show you how to rotate it. So we will create another object. I will change the color of it so it's different, maybe use an orange one. It would be good to create a new game object really and make this object a child of it. You will see why. So I will just create it and I'll call it dot rotate, and we'll just make it a child of it. We will just reset its position. I'll move it to the left, move this dot to the right a bit. So we have our parent position on the left and we have our dot on the right. So now this is going to rotate like so, go up and down. I will create a new script for that. So you just create C# and call it dot rotate, and we'll assign it to the main object, not the child of it, just to the main object. And let's open it. So in here we'll do pretty much the same stuff. So we need some max angle that we want to use, or max rotation. Decide what is this max angle that we want to use, this max rotation. Just go up and see. For example, you want to go up that far. And if you have a look in the transform component, the value of z is 51. So let's just use 50 for that. So let's go back to the code and define this value and put it in the float variable. So float, call it max rotation and assign a value of 50 to it, as you could see in the Unity. Now probably we will need some speed value as well, as we did it before. So let's create it straight away and let's put a value of 3 to it as well. We're not going to need a start method, so let's get rid of it. And in the update method, we are using rotation now. So let's use transform and then rotation equals, because this is rotation, we are using quaternion and now Euler. So we are using those three values that we could see in the transform component. We don't want to rotate on the X and don't want to rotate on the Y, but we do want to rotate on the Z. So we are using our max rotation that we just specified, and we have to multiply it by the Mathf Sin method, like so. And inside the method, we need to specify some value. We are using time, as we did before, and time, and multiply it by the speed. Semicolon at the end, and that should be working. Let's go back to Unity. Just press play. And we can't see our object. Where is it? Where is our object? We couldn't see it because when I duplicated this object, we still have a .sin script attached to it. Let's remove it. So just click on it and remove component, save it. And now it should be working. So let's go back and yes, that should be working. Press play. And as you can see, it is rotating along this point that is defined by the parent object. That's why we were using this parent object. So let me show you how it would rotate if we didn't use this parent object. So let's duplicate this dot. I'll just call it .r so we know that this is different. Let's move it maybe here. Let's increase the size of it and let's remove .sin script from it because we want to rotate it. So add rotate script. And now if we save it and press play, you can see it's rotating. So it depends what kind of movement you're up to. If you want just rotate like so, you can attach the script straight to that object. But if you want to make it like orbital, you might create a parent object that will hold this script. So maybe at the end, we might just add some range value to our code so that we can change the speed and values straight in the inspector. So let's just open the script. So let's add serialize field in front of our variables and add range property as well. And now let's copy it so we can paste it below. And with the speed, we probably want to start from 0 or maybe from 0 to about 6. Save it, let's copy it so we can paste it in our script. Let's do exactly the same thing. We will start from 0 and go up to max move. I don't think we need that big value, so let's just type 10 maybe. And with the speed, let's leave it as it is. Just save it and go back to Unity. And now if we press on our dot, you can see that we've got those values visible. If we now press play, you can change those values. So we have dot in here. So let's change max move so it's a bit smaller, and let's increase the speed value of it. And maybe the other one, dot rotate, just change max rotation. So let's go up to 90. So it's going exactly from the vertical to vertical position. And let's increase the value of the speed to it. So now you can see that our objects are getting crazy. I hope you liked it, and I see you in the next one.